Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the JRS Cars YouTube channel. In today's video, I have with me a car that's designed to make you look like a rich business tycoon. That, my friends, is this 2007 Mercedes-Benz E280 CDI. Straight away, starting with styling, this W211 generation of the Mercedes E-Class is styled like a proper Mercedes should be. We have the typical Mercedes logo on the hood as well as a typical Mercedes grille. This being an E-Class, we have a quad headlight setup with a projector setup for the normal low beam and a halogen setup for the high beam. Moving to the side profile, the design is really classy and elegant, and the body lines of this car really talk about the regalness of the Mercedes E-Class. We also have a shark fin antenna on top. And moving to the rear too is styled in a very typical Mercedes fashion. We have the typical triangle shaped lights, the Mercedes logo in the center, E280 on the left and CDI on the right. The third brake light is mounted on the boot lid, and this is a real premium feature of these old Mercedes cars. Let's now check out the boot space. And once the boot opens, you are greeted by quite a large storage area. The boot is well shaped and quite deep as well. Here of course we have the car cover and a feeding bowl for Jimmy the doggy. Under the boot floor, we have a proper spare wheel and the battery of the vehicle. Before we move inside, let's talk about this car's engine. So the E280 CDI is powered by a 2.8 liter V6 diesel engine producing 200 bhp and 456 Nm of peak torque. More on this engine when we get driving. Let's now move inside. Let's start with the rear of the car, the most important place of a Mercedes E-Class. The door opens nice and wide, which means getting in and out is no issue. Another important thing is the absolute attention to detail. This rubber you see over here would be black in any other car, but here it's in the tan color, the same as the interior. Talking about the door pad, where you have a storage at the bottom below, and on top you have wooden paneling with a chrome line. You also have soft touch materials on top as well as a leather padding on the middle. That means this one door panel has 4 different materials on it. You also have an ashtray, and that's a useful feature. You also have an inbuilt sunshade, and that's a really very useful feature for our climate conditions. Let's now check out the rear seat space of the Mercedes E-Class. Wow, you really feel like you're sitting in a business class jet sitting in this car. Alright guys, so the front seat has been pushed a bit in the front to give me enough space over here, and as you can see, legroom is really abundant. You also have a storage space over here, and headroom too is quite decent as well. Talking about features, you have your rear AC vents placed over here as well as another set placed over here. You also have a center armrest with storage, and you also have grab handles with hooks on both sides. Overall, the rear seat experience in this car is really very great. The seats are really comfortable and supportive, and you also have these sunshades over here as already mentioned, and these really help to block out the sunlight on long trips. We also have an electrically operated sunshade for the rear windshield, and this just adds to the class of the Mercedes E-Class. You might have noticed a black bar above the roof, and this is actually the display for the parking sensors. This car belonged to a time where you didn't have any fancy reverse cameras, and these were the display for the rear parking sensors. While nearing objects behind you, this black bar would light up in different colors, and whoever's driving can see that using the internal rearview mirror. This is really a cool bit of technology for those pre-reverse parking camera days. With that, let's move to the front seat of the Mercedes E-Class. Moving to the front of the Mercedes-Benz E280 CDI. Well, straight away we have this wood paneling over here, which really gives the vehicle a very premium look. We also have the controls for your mirrors, your window controls, as well as the electronic release for the boot. Taking a look inside, this Merc E280 CDI looks absolutely amazing. The black exterior, the tan leather interior, the wooden steering wheel all come together in such a beautiful way making this car feel really premium. To think that this car, which once costed over 50 lakhs, is available for less than 10 lakhs now, wow, truly an awesome deal. With that, let's continue with the interior. The doors close with a nice solid thunk, and with that, let's quickly start the car. There. You guys literally can't even hear the car running. That's how silky smooth this V6 engine is. Taking a look at the steering wheel, we get this beautiful wood and leather wrapped steering wheel, which feels really very nice to hold. You also get buttons for taking and attending phone calls, as well as controlling the small infotainment display in the middle of the speedometer. So talking about center controls, I mean, well, you have your speaker over here. Here you have your AC vents, your dual zone climate control system, your audio system with the CD player. You have buttons over here. Now what do these buttons do over here? Well, I'm pressing the button. Tell me guys, how cool is that? We also have another button, and this button is for dropping all three headrests to increase visibility while reversing. Anyway, you have your lock unlock button, your hazard light switch over here, and the button to off traction control. You also have the gear lever over here, and this is a proper old school Mercedes gear lever, as you guys can see. You have the button to shift between comfort and sport mode over here. And well, you have a small storage compartment over here as well. You have this massive storage over here at the bottom, as you guys can see. And you also have a small storage over here on top. Well, let's quickly turn off the vehicle because, well, we're low on diesel. Yeah. And this is not how you open the glove box. This is in fact a coin holder, as you guys can see. If you want to open the glove box, well, it's this button you press over here. And there you see the glove box is quite nice and wide. And you have an auto dimming inside rear view mirror. And you also have buttons, your lights over here. And you also have a big sunroof. This is not a panoramic sunroof, but well, you do get a sunroof as well. You have your headlight controls over here. You have your ignition key over here. This is how you release the parking brake. And this is actually how you activate the parking brake by pressing that lever over there. Talking about instrument cluster, well, you have a massive speedometer, you have a small tachometer and a clock. Because, well, this car belonged to olden days where time is the most important thing. You also have a fuel gauge over there and you have an engine temperature meter over there. Telltale lights are placed all around, and well, that's what you get in the Mercedes-Benz E280 CDI. This Mercedes belongs to the old style where you have your indicator and the wiper on the same stock over here, and you have this additional stock for while setting your cruise control. So guys, with that, let's get driving straight away. Alright guys, driving the Mercedes E-Class. Straight away, let's start with the steering. Now the steering system on this car is a proper old school hydraulic unit, which means that it's not as light as a modern Mercedes, but the flip side is, it's really feelsome and you know exactly what the front wheels are up to. This dual finish of both wood and leather on the steering wheel, yes, it may not be to all tastes, but it does give the vehicle a really regal and premium feel. Talking about visibility, the visibility out the front is great and the rear windshield too is quite big. I already showed you can drop the rear headrest at the press of a button, and that really helps in rear visibility. What's not very good are the mirrors. The mirrors are quite small and this really limits your visibility from the sides. But this being a proper old school Mercedes, you have the Mercedes logo on front, and just seeing that logo while driving makes you feel like you're driving a really posh German car. Talking about comfort, now whether you're seated at the front or the back, comfort is good at any seat in this car. The ride quality is simply superb. Suma kappal madri vandi podu. And that's the way the suspension really works silently in absorbing all the imperfections on the road. Talking about the front seats, the seats are adjusted manually and electrically. By this I mean the front and back motion is done manually with the lever, whereas the backrest angle and the seat height is done electronically with the switches over here. These are one of the first Mercedes cars in India with electrically powered seats. Let's now move to the most important part of the E-Class, other than of course the comfort on offer, and that's the brilliant 2.8 litre V6 turbocharged diesel engine, producing just around 200 bhp and a massive 456 Nm of peak torque. This means that this big old heavy Mercedes can do 0 to 100 in around 8.5 seconds, making this one of the fastest cars in the Indian market at that time. Let's now do a quick 0 to 100 acceleration test. Wow guys, the thrust from this 2.8 liter V6 diesel is absolutely ballistic. Seriously, I did not expect such an old car to perform so well. Talking about the gearbox, now this is Mercedes' famed 7G Tronic or 7-speed torque converter automatic gearbox, and the shifts are really precise and slick. In sport mode too, the shifts are really fast, and this is something I did not expect from such an old car. Another thing I didn't expect is the build quality. Now these Mercedes cars from this era should not be called cars, they should be referred to as tanks because that's how they feel to drive. The doors close a nice solid thud, and all the interior materials, be it the plastic, the leather, the wood trim, everything is to top notch quality, and even 13-14 years later, it still feels as rich and premium as it did the day it came out from the showroom. Yes, this car has been extremely well maintained, but still I am sure any Mercedes of this era, if maintained properly, has this nice rich solid feel to it. And so friends, that's my review of the Mercedes-Benz E280 CDI. A really awesome car, spectacular car from an era that's gone by. And I really doubt we'll be getting cars with this amount of build quality in the future. A massive thank you to Mr. Fahad Fazil of FF Cars Tamil Nadu for giving me this particular E280 for review. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, give the video a thumbs up and take a second to subscribe also. That will really help the channel grow. Thank you so much for watching guys. I'll see you in the next video really soon. Take care, bye bye, drive safe.